Now to the funeral for the Fox Lake police officer killed last week. Lieutenant Joe Glenowitz was laid to rest today. Thousands attended his funeral, including hundreds of police officers from all over the country. He's remembered as a man dedicated to his community, his family, and his Explorer Scouts he taught for 30 years.
And as his explorers and all who knew him well would say, respect all and fear none.
Investigators are still looking for the 3 men suspected of killing Glenowitz last week. Yona Gavino was at the visitation for Officer Glenowitz.
And Todd Hicks begins our coverage with those police officers who lined the procession. Todd?
Well, Stephen Carroll, to say this was an emotional day would be an understatement. And by the number of people who are lining the streets here right now, Lieutenant Glenowitz is in the heart of many here. The number of squad cars and people goes on as far as the eye can see. It's here in the small town of Fox Lake, Illinois, on a steamy Labor Day where thousands line the street. They're here to support the family of fallen police lieutenant Joe Glenowitz and other law enforcement.
They're not alone, and that's what I want them to know. They're not alone, and they're not going to be forgotten.
Chantel Merrick stands in the shadow of where Lieutenant Glenowitz came to work every day. The flag she holds a message to the hundreds of officers from across the country, including Wisconsin, before the lieutenant is laid to rest. Debbie Mahone is also here with her little girl, Lily.
I wanted her to see, even though she's still young, but just to kind of get an idea of what this is all about.
Merrick tells me the tragedy has shattered this small town in so many ways, and only time will help it heal.
This community is never going to be the same. You know, life's going to move on for a lot of people, but this community will never be the same. Never. It's generation after generation from here.
And I can tell you, I've been out here for the last 25 minutes or so. The number of squad cars, absolutely astounding. Hundreds of squad cars lining the streets right here in front of the Fox Lake Police Department. Now, one woman, this story hits close to home for her. Hear her story coming up tonight on Live at 6. We're live in Fox Lake, Illinois. Todd Hicks, today's TMJ4.
Todd, thank you. Yona Gavino was at the visitation earlier today.
She continues our team coverage. A very difficult day, Yona.
It certainly was, Carol. I can tell you the sense out here is just one of a community in mourning. We stood out here for hours in front of Antioch High School, and supporters poured in through the doors together. The entire community collected as one big family to say a tearful goodbye. There's a hole in the Fox Lake community's heart after the loss of a local hero, Lieutenant Joe Glenowitz.
I actually knew Lieutenant's mother when she had a cafe in town. I didn't know him personally, but he's a community resident. He's a graduate of the high school.
Draped flags painted a solemn picture as members of the football team and police paid a final tribute. The search is still underway for 3 men accused of killing Glenowitz.
For the family's sake and for law enforcement's sake, I hope the people that come forward and put an end to all this.
He's just one of many Wisconsin police officers who made the somber journey to honor their fallen brother.
We are a brotherhood, all law enforcement officers across the country, especially with today's society. So many cops have been injured or killed recently.
Captain Robert Hallisey of the Kenosha County Sheriff's Department says several more colleagues plan on attending the visitation, many of them on their day off.
This hits really home for Kenosha County. We lost Deputy Frank Fabiano 8 years ago, so we really understand the emotion that's gone here, the tragedy that's happened here.
Grief-stricken mourners filed out of the high school, some too emotional to talk. Glenowitz was a giant in the community, a leader, a mentor, a father. Even those who didn't know him still feel the loss. And we also earlier today saw police officers from Racine and West Milwaukee out here. Some of the guys I talked to tell me they have been to more law enforcement funerals than they even want to remember. The most recent one was for Trooper Trevor Casper. Live in Fox Lake, Yona Gavino, today's TMJ4.
Yona, thanks so much.